Okay, so in the last video we saw that we got this all put together in here and assembled, and then I went ahead and put the Budget 302 back on the dyno so that we could try it out a little bit. I guess the first thing to do is just have a closer look at maybe what we got here. And now that I've got the engine on there, I can give you a better look at kind of how much play we're talking about here. You can kind of see about how much play there is in that. I haven't put grease in the slip joint yet, so because I wanted to show you this. I guess what we can do first off is just maybe crank the engine over a little bit and see kind of what we're dealing with there. And so I mean, it's cranking the engine over. It seems to be doing that okay. I guess the next thing we could do is just try to run it a little bit, run it around and see what it does. Okay, so I put a little bit of grease into the slip joint there. I don't know, I guess we'll just run it around a little bit, different speeds and a couple of different loads, and you know, just kind of listen to it and see how we did. Bad bearing back there. Okay, so what I was noticing back there is that the front pillow block bearing, we'll have a look at it in a minute. The one right behind the starter housing there, that bearing is bad. So I'm gonna have to cut this video short. I didn't really intend to do a lot today, but I brought it up to like 4,000 RPM and we were close to like 250, 300, we were close to like 300 foot-pounds of torque, pretty much full throttle. But yeah, gonna have to cut this video short because of that bearing, and I'll show you real quick where that bearing is. It's that one right there, this bearing here. That one's shot. I had the same problem a while ago with this bearing here, and I changed it. Yeah, you know, I tell you what, if you guys are really knowledgeable about absorbers and stuff like this, the problem that I have here is these bearings aren't designed to spin as fast as I'm spinning them. They're only designed to go up to like 2,000, maybe 2,500 RPM, and I, you know, routinely exceed that. So if anybody knows where I can get a, you know, a pillow block bearing like that, 50 millimeter ID, that's designed to spin faster, let me know, because otherwise I'm going to just keep going through these bearings. On the other hand, these bearings here, that one's the first one I put on, so what's it been, a couple of years? So I mean, it's not like terrible problem, but I'm going to have to disassemble all this stuff, take all that off of there, and get that bearing off of there. So that's not going to happen today, for sure. But, you know, so far, you know, I'll review the video here and see if anything seems weird, but so far it seems like it's okay, you know, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that I need to address with this thing that I just, you know, when I put it together, I really didn't even know if any of this stuff was going to work. So, you know, it needs to do a better job of balancing that that rotor in there, and maybe balancing this whole system here. That's another thing that needs to be done. There's all sorts of stuff on this thing that needs to be done. So unfortunately, that's about all I got for this week. I hope to do a little bit more running on there to see how this new coupler is going to work out. What I'll say about it is that it was hard to tell how much of an improvement it made, because that bearing back there was making such a racket. But I could kind of tell that it's better. I think it's better. You know, the thing of it is like the noise that it was making before was at idle or near idle, and that noise is remarkably less than it was before. So I think that's an improvement. And there were other things that would be hard to really put to qualify, you know, or to quantify. You know, it's when the engine's running at a load at speed, it's kind of hard to tell how that's getting twisted and shaken and, you know, getting possibly vibrated harshly. So it's kind of hard to put a number on that. But I would say, all in all, so far, this thing seems to be okay. But, you know, the thing of it is like whenever you build something like that from scratch, there's going to be a trial period there where you just kind of have to keep an eye on it, watch it, and to see how it's going to hold up in the long run. But unfortunately, that's all I got for you this week, and I'll see you next time.